Good morning and Merry Christmas. Wow, yes, it is Christmas Day, the 25th of December 2023. Well, I'm sure some people were already concerned. Oh no, we're listening to Christmas music. Are we not going to know what is happening in the country and around the world? Well, we are very, very committed, so not to worry. We are here to ensure that you stay updated, even as we hope that you spend time with family, friends and loved ones in this season, and ensure that you just do something, an act of kindness. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you can afford, even if it's a phone call, even if it is a text message, even if it's a word of prayer, just try to, an act of kindness to one person or more if you can afford to, and let someone just feel you this season. Let someone bless God because of you. Let someone, just be happy. Let someone be happy just because of you. Do something for someone today or in this season. Tomorrow is another public holiday, and people are just at home relaxing and all. Well, we are here, we're at work, we have to work, we have to ensure that you stay up to date with whatever is going on in and around the world. My name is Omobola Sandra, and you're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. This is the Morning Express, and it's time for Trends in the Papers, where we'll be looking through major trending stories on the front pages of our dailies. But before we do that, every Monday it is our tradition here to bring you up to speed as regards the major trending stories over the weekend. So here we have the stories that trended on Saturday the 23rd of December and Sunday the 24th. Let us see what we have as the major stories from over the weekend before we go into stories for today. It's just it's just how it is for us here. All right, let's start with Saturday. Rivers crisis. President intimidated Fubara to sign peace pact. That's taken from Vanguard newspaper. That's coming from Chief Briggs. Emefiele freed from Kuje prison after paying 300 million naira bail. Now taken from Business Day. Christmas. Nigeria not a poor country, says president's wife. That was taken from Daily Trust. Leave PDP out of your party wranglings, PDP tells Aliyah, and that was taken from The Sun. Enugu, Supreme Court affirms Governor Mba's election, also from The Sun. And also from The Sun, we have INEC fixes February 3rd for rerun and by-elections. And those were the major stories for Saturday. Now let's move on to Sunday. 2024 will be a glorious year for Nigerians, Remi Tinubu declares. That was taken from This Day. Tinubu deal. Fubara and allies disagree, and that was from Vanguard. Massive protests hit Port Harcourt as Rivers Group reject Wike and Fubara deal. That was taken from This Day. My reforms for peaceful, prosperous nation impose unique sacrifices, Tinubu tells Nigerians. That was also that's from Vanguard. Makinde Adeleke reconcile, poised to build Southwest PDP ahead of 2027. That was also from The Guardian. We also have here Buhari approved Naira redesign, says Emefiele, and that was taken from Vanguard. And we also have Rivers crisis. Appreciate Tinubu for intervening, and that's coming from Nyesom Wike, FCT minister. The story was taken from The Nation. And finally for Sunday, Christmas, Tinubu greets Nigerians, says it's time for nation's transformation. Also from The Nation newspaper. And of course, very, very the highlight of the weekend for a lot of sports lovers around the world, or Nigerians around the world. Anthony Joshua outclasses Wallin with dominant knockout win. That was taken from Premium Times. Congratulations to Nigerians. Congratulations to Anthony Joshua. A win for one is a win for all. That's how we do it. That's how we roll in Nigeria. Once one person wins, all of us takes the credit for it. Well, this report was compiled by Kelvin Nwafili. Now let's move on to the major stories for today. I have Fuhad Sahid with me in the studio. Let's kick it. I'll start with the Guardian newspaper, but before then, good morning, Fuad. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Sandra. Merry Christmas to all our listeners. And I think it's a good day.
It is
to unwind, celebrate with family, loved ones, and friends. So.
Yes, very correct. It is. It's looking like a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Yeah.
It's cool, calm out there.
Yes, it is. What's the traffic like coming here?
Very good. Very
smooth.
But I'm sure it's going to build up eventually. People are going to
stay out. People should
stay out. Lagosians, never.
All right, let's get on with it. Fun fact, before we go on to the stories for today, I heard that the Lagos in Portugal is the reason why the Lagos in Nigeria was named Lagos.
Yes, of course, yes.
Oh, wow.
We have two Lagos in the world. The one in Portugal, the one in Nigeria.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And that's why some Lagosians have this Portuguese origin.
So you say it was when it came in, they named it was Eco before, and they named it Lagos. That's interesting. All right, but for those people who, that's just a fun fact. There is a Lagos in Portugal, and that is the Lagos that birthed the name for it to be for Leco to be
when
named
the Portuguese came here.
Lagos. All right, let's go on. Start with the Guardian newspaper this morning. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can see my Christmas dress that my mom specifically asked me to wear. I don't know why, but I'm wearing it anyways. But we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can join the conversation on our Facebook and YouTube platforms, and please do well to like, follow and share. Would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Unusual Yuletide as cash crunch, unaffordable prices mar celebration. And we have here cash crunch hits ATMs and banks at this time now. Food inflation is 32.84%. Headline inflation is 28.2%. And as we speak, exchange rate is running at 1,168 naira per dollar. Well, I think we're in a food crisis in the country at this time now. Aside from the fact that the food is not even available, the ones available is extremely expensive, and also, I don't know. As at May this year, we were buying rice at about 27,000 naira, and here we are now 68,000 naira. That's what it's saying. That's 151% increase. What is this part of what the president said we have to go through in order for us to reach the promised land? Because there's been a lot of statements coming as regards the inconveniences that Nigerians are going through.
Well, anyway, Sandra, I think the president would not have envisaged this level of hardship. There's no way. At the moment when he announced the removal of subsidy, the floating of the naira and the dollar, that he would have envisaged that we'll find ourselves in a situation where a bag of rice will sell close to 70,000 naira. In fact, in some markets, it's already been sold at around that price. So there's no way he would have envisaged it. And it's not just the price of bag of rice. We're just using that to highlight. And not just bag of rice. I mean, there's beans as well. Beans went from 22,000 to 65,000 naira. Aside from that, you also have carton of noodles as well from 4,000 to 6,000. Even fresh tomatoes, that's the worst of all. Fresh tomatoes, a basket of fresh tomatoes, it went from 40,000 to 110,000 naira. That's 175% increase. Well, I think the best way to address this particular story is to hope that our leaders are paying attention. That's the worry for me, really. Okay, you can't come from a very bad place. You try to change one or two things, it gets worse. But what then is the reaction? What is the plan? What is the government doing about it? What are they planning to do? And it's not just to roll out plans. What is the level of commitment to the plans that are being rolled out? And what are the clear timelines? What are the deliverables? What are the achievables? What are the low-hanging fruits? What's the short-term plan, the mid-term plan, and the long-term plan? These are things one would expect the government to start to commit to immediately. In fact, there are people who have said that, look, we should declare a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria. I think we got that call yesterday on Political Roundtable. One of the callers said that, look, this is the time. And it's not just going to be about sloganeering, Sandra. That's the issue. Because again, you're going to come with beautiful speeches from government officials, statesmen, and all of those kind of things. You might even hear vision something. Oh, so, and all of that. There was a time we had the Operation Feed the Nation. We never fed anything.
Our president's wife is saying that we are not poor, so we are good.
Yes, I read the story of the president's wife saying that, look, Nigeria is not poor, and that people should profess prosperity rather than doom, and that, look, rich Nigerians should help the poor. And I'm like, well, it's always good to give this message of hope, Sandra. There's no reason why we should feel hopeless, but that does not still speak to the real situation Nigerians are battling at this time. Yes, I like the fact that the president's wife is trying to renew the hope of Nigerians, get them to think that, look, things will eventually get better. But it's not going to come by mere wishes. We have to walk the talk and commit to serious policies that ensure that Nigerians can now feed themselves. I don't see that commitment. That's just the problem.
Well, hopes of a fun-filled Yuletide celebration with plenty to eat and drink appear to have been dashed for millions of Nigerians following scarcity of cash and high cost of goods and services. I know it's not the same thing, but it just I'm just thinking about the fact that in Israel as well, Bethlehem cancelled Christmas.
Yes, there's war there.
There's war there, but there's also a situation here, and but then across Lagos and other parts of the country, many Nigerians are wailing about the inability to access cash, which has affected their spending ability as they want to celebrate. Some are lamenting that, of course, banks are closed now. It's a public holiday, but even the ATMs are not, they're not full. They're not filled. Exactly. And the POS operators, I withdrew 2,000 naira with 200 naira over the weekend.
Using money to buy money.
I don't understand.
Again, at this time that Nigerians are struggling to, find a way to survive, find a way to just enjoy themselves, unwind, spend quality time with family, friends, and loved ones. You have this unexplained cash crunch, because again, I say unexplained because we've not gotten anything tangible, anything, cogent as the reason why, you get to the banks, they are not able to give you cash. You try to use the ATMs. It's not dispensing, and when it does, you only get. I think across the counter, people say they are now rationing money. You can only get maybe 5,000-10,000 depending on the bank. And as we speak this morning, Sandra, we've not been able to get a cogent reason, any meaningful reason as to why we have a repeat of what happened during the Mayfield era. I think one of our Yoruba programs, Kokorede was even joking with me that he said Mayfield returned to the CBN. As he returned to the CBN, why are we having this cash crunch again? And the government has not been able to explain. So that compounds the situation, makes it worse, for people. And then you also have the issue of fuel scarcity, Sandra. Yes, you go to some stations, you're able to go in, just buy immediately, but there are some that you still find the queue. So it's not really very rosy Christmas for Nigerians at this time, but again, we just have to find a way to survive. And I've always said, please, let's take care of ourselves, help the needy, do the best that you can do. I got your admonition this morning, Sandra, that look, people should just find a way to help. I think that should be the spirit this Christmas.
Be kind to one another. Very, very important at this time. Now, Christmas is usually greeted with high demand, increased spending. It's a normal thing every year, but here we are now. The most common food or item that's used to celebrate Christmas, rice is extremely
jollof is everywhere.
It's extremely expensive at this time now. So it's a lot of people are usually they buy in bulk, and now people are buying in small quantities, and that doesn't help the traders themselves. That means they will have a lot of things that they have bought for Christmas to sell,
and that nobody's buying.
So that's the situation that we are in now. We have riders here. Traders rule low patronage as bag of rice hits 70,000 naira. Shoppers settling for poor quality commodities now. This fake product thing that trended last week. Now people don't even mind because these things are cheaper.
People are desperate.
Yes, because they are cheaper.
But I think people shouldn't be that desperate to want to buy
because it's expensive to take care of yourself in the hospital,
and not even a situation where we have almost a near collapse of the health system in the country. So I probably advise people that look, all you need to do is to do the best you can do, spend wisely, and if there's no money, just enjoy the moment, thank God for life, celebrate with those who have, and we also appeal to those who have, like the president's wife has said, to also share with people who don't have at this time, but don't go desperate buying fake things. It will damage your health and like Sandra has just said, it's more expensive to take care of your health. Then I wouldn't even advise that. I think for people who also have a little, please spend wisely.
Yes.
January is always
is 5 years long. January is 5 years long. I have started stocking up for January. God keep us till then. I have started stocking up for January.
So dirty December, but spend wisely, please.
I don't know if you have to make it dirty. It may have to be a white Christmas after all. More details on page 6 as regards unusual Yuletide as cash crunch, affordable prices, Mars celebrations. Please, yes, we understand, but just try to do something to make yourself
tone it down.
Yes,
yeah.
be happy. Be happy. All right, we also have here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, Emefiele breaks silence on looted funds kept in foreign banks. That story is on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Very quickly, here we have former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has reacted to the raging allegations made by our special investigator, who seemed to, he's doing a great job.
You think so?
I don't know. But it's just been a lot of revelations. But I don't know why it's very specific. But that's what he was employed for. Financial institution, CBN, and
but I'd like you to read, because I read the response or what has been the statement of Emefiele, and I think
to him, or you want to know Jimobazi's
of course we've read what Jimobazi has put out. But what I'm looking at the response of Emefiele.
Emefiele is saying that in a statement he said, after my release from bail, his attention was drawn to all of the news and everything. He has gone through the publication, and he can say boldly that the contents of the said publications are false, misleading, and calculated to disparage his person, injure his character, and to serve the selfish interest of the private investigator, that's Obazi. And he said, because of my present situation, I have been advised by my lawyers not to say anything in respect of the matters which have been submitted to the court for adjudication. However, I need to address some of the issues.
He doesn't want to say this, but he's not saying something. He addressed 3 issues there. Let's read it, Sandra.
First, as regards, contrary to the provision of the CBN Act 2007, there was no presidential approval for the Naira redesign.
Jimobazi said that.
I wish to state unequivocally that there was indeed a presidential approval.
The president said
and the said approval was handed over to the same Obazi during the process of his investigation in the presence of senior CBN officials and his own investigative team.
You will take it one after the other, Sandra. You won't take the 3.
One after the other.
Well, there's no way, Sandra. I'm not going to hold brief for Godwin Emefiele. There were a lot of wrongdoings. He's been prosecuted. Yes, we can't, say he's guilty yet. We agree, but of course, under Emefiele, there are a lot of questionable things that happened. There's no missing words on that. The attempt to want to become president, is mannerism, even the so-called redesign policy in itself, the cash crunch. But that the special investigator will say there was no presidential approval looks funny to me, Sandra. We were here when even the president
said it himself
that I approved it. I gave the directive and owned
maybe
that.
There's a difference between oral and documented. Maybe that's what he's mean. Maybe there's no documentation
the fact that the president addressed the nation,
or that there's a video evidence.
You don't understand. The fact that the president addressed the nation and talked about that policy, that look, I'm behind that policy, and also give reasons for coming up with that policy, is enough, Sandra. Whether written or not, there's an address of the president, former President Muhammadu Buhari, and so I'm surprised that is still reflecting in the report of the special investigator. And so it will be easy for Emefiele to dispel that completely, because really the president addressed the nation. And it's even so embarrassing and ridiculous, because what it does, Sandra, because all of this attempt to want to exonerate the former president from some of the misbehavior, quote and unquote, of the CBN governor and some of the ministers, because more revelations are going to come. A lot have already been coming, and more are still going to come. But I see an attempt, to try to exonerate the former president from all of these actions and inactions of people under him. The buck, Sandra, stops at the desk of the president. The buck eventually stops at his desk. And so,
if the president did not approve it, I remember quite clearly.
Yes.
The president was the one that unveiled the new Naira design.
I say he addressed the nation. So
I'm just wondering. I watched that video where the president said, "Here is our new."
Because what they are simply telling us is that, look, President Muhammadu Buhari was just in government as the president. He was not aware of anything. Are they speaking to the fact that we had a president that was never aware of anything? Are we saying he was clueless about everything that was going on in his government? It's a big indictment on his capacity to govern.
Well, that's one now.
One of that.
That's just one of what he said, yes, and which we have been able to fact check.
I think the president, said he approved it. That one is let's leave that one.
So we also have here. It said that I would like to respond to the issue of the 593 accounts which were purportedly opened in different parts of the world. I state that I am not involved in the opening of these accounts and I don't have knowledge of their openings. The fixed deposits in those foreign accounts are outside my knowledge. However, let me state that the relevant departments of the CBN have the authority to carry out such activities in line with their lawful mandate within the CBN.
Sandra, he would have to really go and defend himself in court on that. Again, when the Jᴏɪṛ Aᴊɪṕᴏ report was published, of course, you had some newspaper, platforms that published it, Premium Times and all of that. What I said was that, look, these are damning big revelations, big revelations. And I think Godwin Emefiele, well, he would have to do a lot of work. He needs to get the best legal hands.
And that's just the one. There's the final one. The third issue is there's also a report that claims that the sum of $6.23 million was withdrawn from the CBN vault based on a false presidential directive bearing the signature of the former president and that of the former SGF boss Mustafa. Now, about 2 weeks ago, Jimoh Bassey, in company of a certain deputy commissioner of police from the 4th CID, came to Kuje to ask me questions in respect of the said document in the presence of my lawyers. I stated verbally and in writing that I have no knowledge of such directive from the former president and the ex-SGF. In fact, I told them that was the first time I would be seeing the documents. On this, I challenged Obazi to publish the documents and statements that I made them.
You see, Sandra, there seems to be this silent agreement amongst our leaders that former presidents cannot be questioned or should not be questioned.
Because his name keeps popping up. So why?
But I don't see a way. I don't see, any way we're going to, prosecute Emefiele that President Muhammadu Buhari would not have to answer some questions, because it would be so easy, really, to quickly solve the problem. Oh, did you give this approval? Were you aware of this? Did you sign this document? We're talking about a former minister of power now, Adegborua. Sorry, I'm trying to remember his name now. The man from Ondo State. And look, from the way that case is going, there's no way former President Olusegun Obasanjo will not have to answer some questions. And I said, look, he's ready to also come up and testify. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way on all of these allegations, the revelations by the Jimoh Bassey report. There's no way we're going to try to prosecute Emefiele without having to question former President Muhammadu Buhari. He has to answer some questions. Although there are some that are completely domiciled at the doorstep of Emefiele himself, which he has to answer. The opening of accounts and all of those things. But whether we like it or not, again, these revelations, if they are true, shows that we have a serious problem within the system. There are too many leakages within the system. It's almost a failed system. And if we have that level of leakages within the system, Sandra, it will be extremely difficult for anybody not to want to take advantage. We just have to block these leakages. But I think that, look, I'll be waiting to see how the federal government approach the prosecution of Emefiele, because again, the Jimoh Bassey investigation has said like he has to be prosecuted. They've submitted their report to the president. I'm sure the Attorney General is already working on something. That's Mr. Lateef Fagbemi. I'm sure the FCC are also taking notes. So it would be nice to also see him appear in court to defend it, whether we like it or not. Until he's proven guilty, he's still innocent. That's Mr. Godwin Emefiele. But the fact is, a lot of things went wrong under him as the CBN governor. In fact, I was reading this story, a report by Kingsley Moghalu, the former CBN scribe.
Oh, okay.
And he said that, look, serious indictment, Sandra, a lot of indictment. He had strong words against Emefiele, that he was never prepared, and that it was one of the worst era for the CBN. The fact that I'm trying to quote him now, because he was very clear about what he was saying as to how the CBN was run under Godwin Emefiele. He said, look, 4 things make this clear, because what he's saying is that, look, that the worst and most damaging central bank governor in Nigeria's history. That's the way Kingsley Moghalu put it, referring to Godwin Emefiele. He said he was incompetent and ill-prepared for the role, and from all available information from his actions, it was clear that he was never qualified and prepared for that job. He said 4 things make this clear: his performance regarding stability of the naira exchange rate, as well as inflation, the brazen illegal provisions of ways and means lending. There's this conversation as to how the ways and means lending was bastardized completely under Emefiele. Then he also talked about the fact that Emefiele's illegal attempt to run for president. I would have been nice to ask Emefiele, did you really want to run for president?
That's another.
And Moghalu said that was in clear contravention of Section 9 of the CBN Act 2027.
That has always been highlighted. That attempt, and then the response saying that it's rice farmers that bought foam.
Maybe 2023. You saw those posters?
Oh, where's the Mr. Car? Well, story is on page 2. Emefiele breaks silence. Three things that he responded to out of the many allegations that came forward as regards the investigation from Special Investigator Jᴏɪṛ who was appointed by the president to look into the CBN and
submitted his report.
Submitted all those reports. One of which, or 3 that Emefiele had, immediately had to respond to. Said, for the rest, his lawyers will handle the rest. But this one's he had to talk.
It's nice that even back home, at least to celebrate Christmas, he was able to at least meet his bail conditions. So I'm sure he's going to eat good jollof rice and chicken.
Well, I don't know about that. You'll probably be praying.
And at least the freedom, for at least temporary freedom.
Moving on now, we also have here Tinubu seeks support, promises more interventions to ease hardship. And that is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Nowadays when I hear interventions, I don't know, I just roll.
You want to have a clear understanding.
I don't know, because English, it seems to be
semantics.
We seem to be taking advantage of English nowadays in this country. But we have riders anyways. Be patient with Tinubu. Economy will be better. That's coming from Abia State Governor. Yes,
he was in Lagos. He came to visit the president, so
that's interesting.
You can't be the guest of the president and say otherwise.
That's okay. Labour Party, Nigerians celebrating Christmas on empty stomachs. Like me now, I'm here, I'm hungry.
Don't worry, we'll be fine.
That's unfortunate. Free Kanu as Christmas gift to Ndigo. Ohaneze begs Tinubu. Well, let's talk about that. Putting against the Emefiele situation, and Nnamdi Kanu has been there over a year now.
Nnamdi Kanu is facing different charges, treason, and
security situation,
yes, but breach of security and all of that. But
the political intervention has always been talked about.
Well, if the president is everywhere, looking for political solutions to simple legal matters, one would think that it could also apply the same principle to this Nnamdi Kanu matter, because that's always been the position of Ohanaeze. That's also been the position of some of the Southeast governors who have said that, look, one of the ways to also engender peace and stability in the Southeast is to release Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally and ensure that, leaders of that region rein him in. In fact, some of them have said that, look, we would prefer that the president hands him over to us. We ensure that he doesn't become a security threat or foment any trouble in that region. If you ask me, I think that it's a different thing entirely. I've always said this, even when President Muhammadu Buhari was in power, that I think the best way is to find a way to release Nnamdi Kanu. There are always ways to do these things. We've seen it happen before. I think President Yar'Adua, the late President Yar'Adua, when he came, he did the same thing. There were a lot of people who had been arrested by the Obasanjo regime on trying to break the peace of the country, treason and all of that. Asari Dokibo, one of them, Gani Adams. So there was an amnesty program, and of course, I think to a great extent he was able to activate it properly and peace returned to the Niger Delta. So I also think that, looking at the situation of the Southeast and the consistent request by Ohanaeze and leaders of that region, the president, maybe they've said that it would have been a good Christmas gift for them. If it doesn't come as a Christmas, it could come as a New Year gift. So I don't, I'm not against an attempt really to find that kind of solution to the problem of the Southeast. If Nnamdi Kanu's release would bring back normalcy, peace to the Southeast, why not? We can look at that option.
Thank you very much. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Finally, from the Guardian, we also have no compromise on $800 million conditional cash transfer, says Ntipar boss. That story is on page 3. And they started. They said they've commenced the distribution of the 25,000. You didn't know?
Well, I don't know, but again, yesterday
checks.
Well, we've seen videos and pictures of checks.
I've been seeing checks.
But Sandra, the wage award, we got a revelation yesterday on Political Roundtable.
Someone called in.
A federal civil servant, called in yesterday on the show and said
that has actually been the report, that they only paid the 35,000 naira in September.
Okay.
And so for October and November they didn't get. So the government came forward and said, by December they'll get all of the arrears.
But the guy is saying
the man called yesterday now and said now that there's not even salary has not come.
I was questioning the kind of Christmas they expect them to have. So the president is in Lagos. And assume that a lot of his friends and associates are listening to the program. That was a call yesterday by federal civil servant who was pleading directly to the president to please do something about the wage award and December salary of federal civil servant. Again, like I said, we've not been able to really fact check all through federal civil servant, but the fact is he said he was a civil servant. I think the reports have always been that
it's only September. Yes, the reports have always been that
they even get the December salary if they will still lump the other things.
How I'm shocked, as a matter of fact, if as at December 25, Christmas Day, federal civil servants are
this is the time that people are getting bonuses, people are getting all manner of
13th month and all of those things, and one would think that this is the time, let the money come in.
And some governors are doing well. Fubara, for example, gives civil servants in the state 100,000 naira bonus, and I'm sure there's no way the bonus would have come without the salary.
Yeah, of course.
So one would have thought that the federal government would have
paid.
taken the lead. Pay the wage award, pay December salary, maybe even have some bonus.
Fuad, that's a lot of pain.
I'm becoming a liver twister.
Calm down. That's a lot of pain.
The president has the capacity.
The president of the nation has the capacity.
Of course, it stops. He has to sign off on it.
It's true. All right, so you're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're moving on now to the Punch newspaper. The major headline on the front page of the Punch: 187 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests humanitarian ministries contractor, probes 4 Buhari ministers.
Prince Wales will say that disaster over. That disaster over. I think disaster over.
But is poverty television
disaster management
and
the way Prince Wales,
but they've broken them now. They separated them.
What I'm saying,
but then the disaster was disaster woman.
That disaster.
Then it was disaster woman. So we have riders.
Yes.
Ex-humanitarian affairs minister Umar Farouk. That's the woman.
That woman. Yeah.
Ex-DGs face arrest over 37 billion naira money laundering allegation. Anti-graft agency grills contractor over funds transfer and probes 3 other Buhari's ministers over 150 billion naira. And I'm going to ask the same question that Fuad seems to be asking, because now I'm getting curious as regards the fact that a lot of officers under the Buhari administration are being grilled at the moment. But the principal himself, the person who appointed them, the person who probably signed off on all of these things, what about him? Why is nobody going to Dara? That is if he's still there.
But the humanitarian disaster management woman, I knew that this was going to eventually come. There were questions as to the way she managed a lot of those funds. She was the one in charge of the funds transfer,
the 5,000,
and people were saying that
and she said that they needed the people that needed
that 5,000 was enough to solve people's problems.
Some people,
and people questioned the fact that it was almost lopsided. It was not that even in the south, really. There was really nothing as cash transfer. Even in the north.
We asked because that if you know somebody that has collected 5,000, please call.
But even in the north, where we saw videos and pictures, there was no way, people would not have cashed in ad on the way it was managed because it was done by hand. How do you reconcile?
Let me remember. I think it was 15 million. Was it 15 million individuals and something million households? 5,000 naira.
We said it
every month for 6 months.
And then they said it was done by hand, and we're asking
because the people that need that money don't have bank account. That's what she said.
Again, a lot of these officers under Buhari would have to answer questions. The woman I knew was going to have to answer questions because you had billions of naira deployed for all of those things. You remember, I think she was also the one in charge of the school feeding problem. And people have said that even while there was lockdown, when children was at home, we see some figures of children being fed.
That school feeding program,
yes,
apparently the federal government is bossed to the states.
Okay.
For the states to now,
manage.
Yeah. Because that's
and they had contractors. Yeah.
And then they had contractors, which was why there was a school that they had food poisoning and they had to sack the vendor.
That's why, Sandra, when it comes to anything, sharing of money, sharing of that, I have my reservations because of the peculiar nature of it. You see, all of these interventions of sharing this, sharing that, would eventually become a racket. This idea of going to the market to share money to people and all of those kind of things. This is the way it would eventually end. Remember that the woman also took over some of the responsibilities under the vice president. Initially, trade that money, all of those kind of monies were being handled by the vice president.
Let's not forget that this is very important for us to discuss. This woman was at the center of a lot of things.
A lot of sharing.
Apparently, Umar Farouk was actually the pioneer minister of humanitarian affairs, disaster management, and so it was created newly under the Buhari administration.
For her.
Under that ministry,
a lot of things happened.
so many things. So as we have now, there's so many things that also have been done. The humanitarian affairs currently serves as the parent ministry to 8 agencies that are supposed to be doing some sort of social work. The National Social Investment Office, Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons.
So
a lot of spending
going on to alleviate poverty and
social development.
The monies get to those people.
That's the question.
So that's why when besides that disaster over.
Apparently this is a disaster now. Sadiya Farouk. What we have now is 37 billion naira allegedly committed under that particular ministry. Aside from that, we have 3 other ministers who served under former President Muhammadu Buhari, who have been, also are being probed for graft, estimated at 150 billion naira. We have moved past. So investigation revealed that 37 billion naira was transferred from the federal government's coffers and sent to 38 different bank accounts domiciled in 5 legacy commercial banks belonging to or connected to Okwete. Who is Okwete now? You wonder. Let's get into it. So Okwete is a contractor. James Okwete.
We have willing contractors everywhere.
Is a contractor in this. What he was contracted for, I'm still trying to find out, but we don't have anything. But he's a contractor for the ministry of
these funds were deployed.
And these funds were deployed. These accounts and all of the
were linked to this particular Okwete.
Were linked to this James Okwete. So sources have revealed that Okwete is being held by EFCC at the moment, and he's a contractor. That's what we just keep hearing, contractor.
He's a contractor.
What was the contractor to do?
Have you not seen consultants who being paid huge sums of money for consulting nothing? Okay, because you didn't say this one is a consultant. Who did you say is a consultant?
That's all right. Well, so far, as it is now, documents obtained reveal that following receipt of funds, Okwete transferred another 6.7 billion to Bureau de Change operators. He withdrew 540 million naira in cash. He purchased luxury cars. We bought luxury houses in Abuja and Enugu State. 53 companies have been traced to Okwete. Only this Okwete.
How does it take to register a company?
Who was also said to have used 47 firms to secure contracts from the federal government. And he's also linked
contracts
to secure
very
contracts.
Important to take note of that.
That's yes. He was to secure contracts.
Some of those firms were registered in less than 2-3 months, and they will still get the contract.
Have you forgotten the Nigeria Air one that was registered last year?
And then he got it.
All right. He's also linked with 143 bank accounts in 12 commercial banks.
So all of the money laundering laws that the commercial banks are supposed to?
That's why he's spreading it out.
Okay, they just share them.
So that's it. But even at that, one of the red flags as an in the anti-money laundering unit in a bank, for you to look out for is someone operating multiple bank accounts.
Because all the banks are supposed to be linked.
Because BVN will link the signatory.
Yeah.
The signatories BVN will link all the accounts together.
So even if the monies are spread around, when it becomes too multiple, they are supposed to be
a red flag.
Red flag, yeah.
It's a red flag. But the banks can flag it.
Well,
it's now left for the
EFCC to take it off.
to now do something about it. That's what you need to also understand. So these are 12 commercial banks, 143 accounts.
Particular Ōkwete.
Yes.
It's nice to know him.
James is in here. You can go and visit him.
Why not? It's nice to see.
He said James. James.
Okay, James is a man. Okay.
He's a man.
I think
so. Anyways, checks have also revealed that if you go to CAC, that's Corporate Affairs Commission, Ōkwete is a director in 11 of the 53 companies that have been linked to his BVN as a signatory to the account, and there's just a lot going on. And James Ōkwete is in the middle of it all. It's apparently,
Sandra, again, when we read stories like this, it just again buttresses the fact that the system is not working.
It's porous.
It's a completely porous system. And look, you can't have that level of porosity, Sandra, without people trying to take advantage. It's just extremely porous. The leakages are too much. The opportunities to steal are spread and available. And so people just get into positions of power and take advantage of the porous system. This is what we're seeing with this report. This
is what happens. So he opens several he registers several company
dummy
names.
Companies, really.
Dummy companies, and then open bank accounts for all of these companies, and then comes and gets one side Fuhad,
Why my name now in all of this?
As
in all of this, bro.
This is a bullaba.
It's a terrible one.
Well, the story is on page 2.
But we want to see
there's a lot that's going on.
According to Prince White, that woman appear in court.
Yeah, I don't know. The remaining ministers are not mentioned in the reports. That have been also nice to know.
I'm sure 𝗪𝗪 is under investigation.
Is under investigation. That's one of.
Professor Scam already said that.
Yes, that's one of another minister who's also being probed by from the past administration. I want to wonder, when will the former president be questioned? It doesn't have to.
Because all of this happened under him.
And
under his watch.
I want to believe that they didn't do this thing without the knowledge of.
The same thing happened when Buhari came in. Ministers were being probed, special advisors were being probed under Jonathan. Not any day was Jonathan invited to answer questions.
All right, well, that's the major headline on the front page of the Punch. Finally, from the Punch newspaper, we have here, I will assess Tinubu's government after 1 year. And that's coming from Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. Yes. Yes, very quickly. The actor that was shot over the weekend, Aziz Ijadwade. Yes. Apparently, the police have come forward to say that it was an accident. He was shot by accident. No, they say it was not shot. No, it was that.
They said the canister from the bullet, because the report I got was that it was like, I think it was like a bar or a hotel lobby.
It was a mistake. That's what they said.
They said the policeman fired into the air and started eating. Why are they firing?
Why are you firing? Why? That's the question.
I said the policeman was deployed to guard maybe some Chinese or Lebanese.
So why did he fire? But they say it's a mistake. They didn't call it accidental discharge.
The story was that he fired into the air and the canister from the bullet hit him in the neck. And then injured him. What I'm saying, why do you have to fire into the air? And then why do we have our policemen?
Maybe in celebratory mode. They were happy. So
he was fine.
Remember the other guy when they opened the shop at Alaba, Lɪධᴇ, and he was shooting.
He was also shooting into the air. Well, that one was also reprimanded.
Well, Trigger Happy Cop to face sanctions. It was Trigger Happy.
Sanction, you guys to know.
So the Ogun CP Alamutu has visited Aziz Ijadwade. Yes. Thank God, nothing. It's.
I think it's in a stable condition.
I thought it was like they were on.
His father used to be an actor too. He used to be very young boy. I think he's grown big.
There's a name that we used to call him then. Ola. Yeah.
But his father, I think, is JᴏɪR Ijadwade.
JᴏɪR Ijadwade.
So he's Aziz.
Popular director. He was majorly a director. He is an actor.
And he's also directing too, according to reports.
Oh, okay. That's good. we grew up
watching as a young boy.
As a
very big boy now.
He's a big boy. Because that was the first thing that came to my mind. I still call him Ola in my mind till now. Well, that's all we can get from the Punch newspaper. Finally, let's run through Vanguard and the major headline there: hard choices, high prices ruin Christmas for Nigerians. And we have riders. Price increases range from 50% to more than 100%. Consumers shift to cheaper brands.
They shouldn't buy fake, please.
And reduced quantity. No, but cheaper brand. You know what we need to understand in economics, or there are brands that they know that there's the difference in social status and financial status. So they have premium brands, and then they have, it's just low like quality. Mr. Bailey, forgive me, DSTV owns GoTV. GoTV is for the masses, for the mekuno.
So what kind of cheaper brand you have for rice, for example?
For rice Ofada is cheap. No, for real, it's not cheap. I don't know why I said that. One small bag like this is about 7,000 naira.
Okay, let's look at beans now. Do you have the premium and the low quality for beans?
There's Olomi, there's Oloyi, Abi.
Or maybe the one that you cook
red eye beans.
The one you cook for 5 hours or 6 hours.
That one where you be wasting gas.
I think the president has to please find a way to commit to allowing the poor breathe. He said it, let the poor breathe.
He has promised more interventions.
Yes, we need to see those interventions, and workable interventions, deliverable interventions.
Deliverable interventions, very important. Well, we did exchange of gifts in church on Saturday. Someone got chicken. Live chicken. I'm telling you.
What did the other person get in return?
The person that got the live chicken.
No, it was an exchange of gifts.
Yes, right? The person that gave the live chicken.
What did he get?
No, please, let's not go there. That's the issue I have with. That's the issue I have with exchange of gifts, because you go all out, and then when you just I got clip
peg
for clothes. For laundry.
They know you. Maybe they know you wash a lot of clothes. So
that's very unfortunate. But anyways, traders cite subsidy removal, naira depreciation for price increase. Nigerians go for beef as price of chicken soars. I'm one of the Nigerians.
Protein, protein is
goat
protein.
Meat from J sold goat meat for us.
Protein is protein, Sandra. At least you got something.
No, but please, let's not. It's not. What's not good is not good.
So
chicken
is
chicken. Synonymous to rice.
No.
Sorry, it's synonymous to Christmas.
So that has to be chicken.
It's like Ileya now.
Okay, the ram.
You should give us chicken.
But even
will you give us chicken for Ileya?
Well, ram. But if you don't have ram,
will you give us chicken for Ileya or fish?
If that's what I can afford.
Have word. There are rights that go through that people go through.
Who came up with the idea of chicken being what you should serve on rice on Christmas Day?
It doesn't matter. Leave it at that.
Chicken.
The point is, just as ram is very important for Ileya, chicken is for Christmas. Let's leave it at that. but like we always say, just go for what you can afford. I mean, as long as there's protein, there's beef, there's animal on your food, be happy. And
I think this is the time for people to share, give out to people. If you have, please just spread the love around. Let it get across to people.
The president has said it as well. Be your brother's keeper. Says my reforms for prosperous nation have unique sacrifices. It's for only the masses. Pledges to government.
That's what we have been saying. We are not seeing the sacrifice on the other side. It's only with the masses that keeps sacrificing. They've not shown enough to show that, look, the sacrifice is also on the other side of the divide. That's what we're saying.
Even newspapers have increased their tariff. They wrote it, changing cover prices.
No, they have to, because printing costs. Again, a lot of people don't know. They import papers. We don't produce papers in Nigeria. All the paper mills have all closed shop.
So isn't that unfortunate?
It's unfortunate. We used to have paper mills everywhere. They have all closed shops, so we import papers. Yes, a lot of the paper mills have closed.
Well, that's it for this morning on Trends in the Paper. Stay with us. It's Christmas Day, so of course, light conversations all through the day at Milan 98.3 FM. But
no fights, no.
I quite sent me a message and I said, "No goes, please. Let's take it easy. Let's take it easy on people." And I responded. I said, "I understand. People need to relax.
Of course,
people need to relax." All right, so stay with us. We'll take a short break and we will be right back. This is Mainland 98.3 FM.
John, what's up? check your phone. I just send you Momo referral.
My mama don't run that one for me since now. Me say for the find who I go refer, make a quick hammer my million.
Hey! You too should be one of the 6 millionaires for the Momo Refer and Win promo. To win, dial *671# to sharply open your Momo account and select